This is Valley News Live at 5.
Happening right now, there's a rally in front of Sanford Medical Center in Fargo where people are taking a stand for what they call is freedom against mandates. Valley News Team's Alex Larson is there. She joins us now live with details. Alex?
Thank you, Mike. Here I am at the Sanford on 23rd Avenue where people are protesting medical freedom. We've got around 50 people here today, and with me I have State Senator Jason Heitkamp. So Jason, how many of these have you been to so far?
I've been to 3 of them in Bismarck. One of them was on Labor Day where we had between 200 and 300 people. And we started at the Capitol and we walked down to the 2 hospitals down south and then came back again.
And what brings you here today?
Well, what brings me here is I work with over 100 other truck drivers, and my goal from the beginning was to get this stopped immediately, because otherwise it's going to come down to my business where I work and I'm going to be affected by it. So, you know, I'm trying to help these people out so that it doesn't come down and affect us in the future. So
awesome. Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, thank you.
So we've got signs and flags here. We're about an hour in. It will wrap up at about 6 o'clock. Alex Larson, Valley News Live.
All right, thanks so much, Alex. In other news, it's no secret North Dakota is short on nurses. Just last week, Sanford stated Fargo alone could use up to 300 more nurses just to handle COVID-19 cases. Tonight, the president of the state's nursing association says the crisis is likely going to get worse before it gets better. Telling Valley News Live's Bailey Hurley, many nurses are burnt out, overworked, or are leaving the profession altogether.
I fear that there's just going to be more people on the front lines that are going to, step away from the practice that they love because, like I said, there's just no end in sight.
As North Dakota's COVID-19 cases continue to rise, the burden on nurses does too, a burden most have already been carrying for 18 months.
Yeah, I don't blame the ones that leave. It's hard.
And Johnson says while the public perception is that mandatory vaccines are forcing droves of nurses out the door, she says that's just not the case.
It's the other reasons. It's that the capacities are high, the sick people are getting sicker, we're filling up beds quicker and quicker. Nurses are just ending it because they can't take much more. We're at the point that we're at a worse situation now than we were last year at this time, and that's terrifying for us.
A long-term care nurse, Johnson says the last year and a half has been emotional and draining, both inside her facility and out, due to the politicization of the pandemic. Saying while she respects people's feelings, she urges North Dakotans to base their opinions on information from credible and real sources for the benefit of nurses across the state.
I truly beg North Dakotans who for their whole life have called the nurse next door, just actually listen with an open mind and then make it the best decisions for you.
Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
150 travel nurses have been hired in Fargo to help combat the shortage and influx of patients. And Sanford says it's offering increased wages, sign-on bonuses, and other perks to attract more potential employees. The number of COVID patients in intensive care units across Minnesota has climbed to more than 200 for the first time this year. The state health commissioner says that there's a total of more than 700 COVID patients hospitalized across the state. But officials also say that Minnesota hospitals were very full of patients with other critical conditions even before virus cases began increasing. And in North Dakota, there are more than 100 people hospitalized with COVID, including 18 in the ICU. Meanwhile, there's a limited supply of COVID-19 antibody treatment in North Dakota. The health department says increased demand and limited supply have led to a change in how the monoclonal antibody treatments will be distributed across the nation. The department is still working to get the treatment to facilities across the state. However, health officials are warning those who are depending on the treatment instead of getting the vaccine to get the shot in case the treatment is unavailable. Well, there's some good news in the weather on this late Thursday afternoon. It has to do with the chances for severe weather. Hutch is here to explain. Hutch?
Mike, thanks so much. We have a first alert weather day, and we're going to maintain that as we go through the next couple of hours. There'll be a chance that just a few in our viewing area will have a chance at seeing some strong storms. For now, this is what we're looking at in Devil's Lake. Fair weather, cumulus clouds drifting overhead, a lot of sunshine. Here's the area of concern, and it involves our central Minnesota counties where you see the greens, the dark greens that is, and the yellows. That's where we could see some storms fire up that could bring some of these threats. And we cannot rule out an isolated tornado, but more likely we'll see some storms producing some sizable hail, upwards of 2 inches, and some gusty winds over 70 miles per hour. Here's a look at that satellite and radar. Clouds exiting. Here's some showers along the leading edge here of a cool front that's making its way through. South winds, warm temperatures there, but cooler air working into our northern and western counties. This is all we have right now. A few drizzle drops out there with some showers and storms trying to form out there near Grand Rapids. This area, the area we're watching most likely for some development. Notice that a few of our eastern counties are in that area. We'll keep our eyes closely peeled on that. The threat will literally be between now and 7 p.m. After that, I think it's quiet for all of us. North winds cooling rapidly. We'll have a few clouds passing through Fargo, and in the look at temperatures, take a look at the heat. Way warm down in southern Minnesota. We'll keep our eyes on that. 40s and 50s on the way tonight. I'll have details in your hour-by-hour forecast. We'll look ahead toward that hot weekend and Luther Family Ford Weather Kid nights tonight, so you get to meet our first weather kid of the year in a minute.
Or already have. All right,
Yeah,
thanks.
you bet.
West Fargo schools are asking for information surrounding the theft of district property. It's linked to a viral TikTok trend challenging students to steal from their schools. It's called the Devious Lick, and it surfaced last month. Fargo, West Fargo, and Moorhead school officials all say that they've had recent thefts and blame the viral trend. At West Fargo Cheyenne High School, more than 20 soap dispensers are missing.
It's not just, oh, we're going to take it and it'll get replaced. It'll, it's funny, it's a joke, it's on TikTok, so it's not a big deal. But that their actions have consequences and they'll be held accountable for their actions.
We'll have more on this story tonight on Valley News Live at 6. A local small business is asking for your help after employees say one of its vans was broken into. Shane Busby, who works for Hands Down Flooring and Tile, says yesterday morning they discovered thousands of dollars worth of tools and equipment were gone. He says it's a big loss for a business of just 10 employees.
Kind of coming up short yesterday. We had to really scramble to get tools together so we could keep on going and take care of our customers.
Busby contacted police and is asking the community to keep an eye out for anyone selling tools or equipment online. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin entered a not guilty plea today to federal charges involving a 14-year-old boy. Prosecutors say Chauvin held the boy by the throat and hit him in the head with a flashlight back in 2017. He allegedly also held his knee on the boy's neck while he was handcuffed and not resisting. The charges are separate from additional federal charges that Chauvin is facing for violating George Floyd's civil rights in 2020. He's also pleading not guilty in that case. Trial dates have not been set. Cities big and small across the country continue to collect donations and prepare to welcome tens of thousands of Afghan evacuees forced to flee their country. We're told that North Dakota will get 49, Minnesota 275. The Biden administration has begun notifying governors and refugee coordinators about how many Afghan evacuees will be resettled in individual states. This comes as a new group made up of former presidents, Afghan Americans, and advocates launched this week to help accelerate resettlement efforts. One Afghan American arrived in the U.S. in 2015 on a special immigrant visa, leaving Afghanistan under Taliban threat.
I was working with the U.S. government that put my life and life of my family in danger. It was a big and hard decision for me to leave Afghanistan, but I didn't have any other choice.
Government statistics show that roughly 37,000 Afghan refugees who arrived in the first phase will be resettled. California is set to receive more than 5,000 refugees, the largest number for any state, followed by Texas with more than 4,400. Today, President Biden turned his focus to the economy as the fight over how to pay for this massive infrastructure package intensifies. This comes as unemployment claims ticked up last week to 332,000 after hitting a pandemic low. another sign that the U.S. job market and the broader economy may be slowing down as the COVID Delta variant upends daily life. At the same time, prices are soaring, especially on food, with pandemic disruptions squeezing the supply chain and adding to a shortage of truck drivers delivering to grocery stores and restaurants.
We've had to change our menu quite a few times due to not being able to get items.
President Biden insists the economic hardships are all the more reason to back his spending plans on infrastructure and the social safety net. The president is also promising changes to the tax code to give the middle class a fair shot. He's promising raising taxes on corporations and the wealthy, and that they will offset the trillions of dollars in spending. The president also wants to give the IRS new tools to crack down on loopholes that he says allow the wealthiest Americans to evade paying their fair share. A major new facility is set to open on Sunday. Here's a sneak peek on the new Amazon fulfillment center in Fargo. Along with this 1.1 million square foot facility, the company is adding benefits to help its employees and making safety a top priority. As one of the presenters put it, to them, it feels like Thanksgiving, just trying to get everything prepped for the big day. Later on Valley News Live at 5, which of the major vaccine makers is working on a booster that could protect people against future COVID-19 variants?
Well, we have variable weather across the region. Temperatures in the low 60s for our north and eastern counties, but look at Fergus Falls, 75 and a lot of sun there. We do have a first alert weather day continuing through the evening. We'll have hour-by-hour details on what you can expect. Join me, Weather News next.